welcome to the Wear Away podcast. My name is Summer.
Hey, Mark here.
And today we have
Stephanie Legree Roberts. Hi, guys.
Hello. So tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do here, your time here at tamuct.
Oh, my goodness. How much time do we have? No, okay. So short version. I'm Stephanie Legree Roberts. I'm the Associate Dean of Student Success and the Executive Director of the Warrior Center for Student Success. That's a lot, but there's a lot that falls into the areas I oversee. And basically, my department deals with all things student support, success, assistance outside of the classroom, if that helps at all.
Okay, what made you want to work for a job position like this?
Oh, my goodness. This is so layered, so I'll keep it short, though. I had some experiences in my younger life that proved to be difficult. College ended up being a saving grace for me. It ended up being a safe space and an opportunity for me to explore things, learn some things, and do some things that I never dreamed I'd be able to do. When I was in college, I was a struggling student. I was an at-risk student. I was homeless, technically. I lived at college, so during holidays and breaks and things like that, I had no place to go. I had to rent rooms or stay on people's couches and things like that. And so the college that I went to at the time was a university in New York City called Pace University in New York State. And so they were awesome because the team there that was over like student affairs and student success and all that, they saved my life. When I tell you these people saved my life, I can't even stress it enough. Whether that was allowing me to hide out and stay in the residence halls illegally during Christmas break and stuff, finding me food. We had this closet where people would come and go and leave the residence halls and they just leave stuff. And so they found a very interesting and clever way to engage me and get me to accept receiving some of those items that were left over from people.
Because that can be hard.
Yeah, it's really hard. It was really hard for me to admit. I was trying to hide that I was struggling, but people noticed. And so everything from lamps and blankets to old coats and clothing and books and everything that I needed, they were like, we got you. Let us help. We got you. And it was awesome. They would slip things under my door and say, hey, there's like a nuclear physicist meeting at the lounge. And I'd be like, why am I going there? And they're like, they have food there. Go there. I'd go there and I'd put that one blazer I had on. I'd go there and I'm like, oh, good evening. Oh, that's delicious. And just load up on food from all the buffet tables and stuff. It was awesome. They kept me there. There were so many times I wanted to quit. There were so many times that life was getting in the way and they wouldn't let me quit. And I was like, wow, these people are amazing. Yeah. When I went to college, I thought I was going for psychology. So I thought I was going to be either a forensic psychologist or I was going to be one of those Clarice Starling, Silence of the Lambs investigators that was going to do profile, serial killers and stuff. And then I totally realized later that while I love that kind of stuff, I don't have the stomach for
keep it on the screen.
Yeah, I'm like, keep it on the screen. The blood, the guts, the murdering thing. I was like, yeah, you know what? I need to do something different. And so I started changing my mind, but
something more positive.
Yeah, it was right in front of me the whole time. I realized that what they do, deans, student affairs, assistants, programmers, coordinators that help students, I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to give back. And so from that point on, after I graduated, I was always kind of pointed in this direction. And so ended up working and doing a lot of different jobs in student affairs. Worked locally here at Central Texas College down the road for 17 years before I eventually found my way here. And my whole career, I've been able to do some awesome, amazing things to support students. And so that's how I got here.
Oh, wow.
I think what's really unique about your story is that higher education helped you as a person, not just knowledge-wise, not just education, but as a person, that's a unique story because people think about maybe churches, people think about school, but school when you're, a kid, but higher education helping you in that way, that's unique.
Yeah, it was amazing because back then it wasn't even something that higher education did or thought they should do. It was considered more like social work.
Right.
And so they would steer you and say, oh, go to the local community church or go to the local Red Cross system, but we don't have anything for you. But they didn't say that. Instead, they worked around that system and found ways to help me and other students like me. Right. And so fast forward many, many years later, and now we're in a situation where it's not only something that we can do, it's expected that we do. And so the work that we do here takes me back to what they did for me back then, where they had to sneak around and hide me in the residence halls and do all these things. Now we actually openly in the light can actually provide students with the support that they need, and that's awesome.
That is awesome.
that is.
that you get to do that. What does a typical day look like for you? Since you are, on top of everything, you are directing hands everywhere. What does a typical day look like for you?
It is busy, primarily because the Warrior Center is made up of several different programs and processes and services. So the Warrior Center is considered like one department, or actually maybe two departments, but for the most part, we have about 16 different programs and services we provide. And so everyone that's over those different programs is either a program manager or a coordinator. The majority of them, not all, but the majority of them actually are my direct reports. And so they're always looking to get my guidance.
We've seen a lot of them on the podcast.
Right, exactly, right? A lot of the folks on the podcast. And so I'm always kind of running around, putting out some fires, solving some problems, collaborating, consulting with my team, making sure that they got what they need so that they can do the job they need to do, which is support the students. So a lot of the on-the-ground services, those folks that you work with directly report to me, and I spend a lot of time making sure I'm removing barriers and making their pathway clear so that they can actually do what they need to do to help students.
That's a great job. From one end of the spectrum to the next.
Right.
Like, that's a pretty great job.
It's a dream job. I know it sounds crazy. When I tell people, they're like, that's your dream job? And like, yeah, not everybody wants to be, in Hollywood as an actor, so that would be awesome or whatever, but yeah, I'm actually living the dream, which is awesome.
Yeah, that sounds really awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, now, do you think you could tell us a little bit about the key programs or initiatives that your department is working on right now to help with student success here on the campus?
Yeah, so, we're made up of a lot of different programs and processes, and they're all working on something new and different. Access and Accommodations is growing and expanding their reach to better support students. Of course, we have the new LC, the Learning Center. I know you guys have met with Chad Pettit.
Yes.
And that's technically a separate department, but it's also part of the Warrior Center. And so he's doing some really awesome things that he's working on. Trying to get more students to focus in and get to the LC, which is an amazing, awesome space, underutilized, and he's been doing some great work up there. The tutors that he has are fantastic, so now he has expanded tutoring to evenings and weekends for students because we have a lot of non-traditional students who work and they're not always able to get here during the normal operating hours. So he's expanding those services. Mariah Ermenfels, who's our community resource coordinator, the things that she's putting in place for our students to provide them with a lot of those services that I benefited from when I was a student. So making all these partnerships with churches and shelters and agencies to make sure students have direct access to those services has been phenomenal. And I think one of the best things that we've had going on is kind of undercover is the Warrior U grant. We got that Title III $2.2 million grant. We started this initiative called Warrior U, and within that umbrella, laptop lending services are now available for students.
Right.
So students can actually sign in and sign out a laptop if they don't have access. And now we recently got approved to purchase hotspots because we have a lot of students who struggle with connectivity or Wi-Fi.
I didn't actually know about
going
that.
to Starbucks, having to go to Starbucks, having to come to the library.
Yes, exactly. So now we are able to purchase hotspots and subscriptions for students to sign out. Sometimes we have students that are maybe living further out in rural areas, things like that. But then we have a lot of students that, because technology is so expensive right now, they're doing their work and assignments on their phones.
Yes.
They don't have a full laptop and they don't have connectivity and things like that. So that's been huge because we really, in the technology age that we live in, we just assume everybody's got a phone, everybody's got a computer, everybody's got Wi-Fi.
A tablet,
Those things cost money.
Yeah.
And the way things are, they've always been difficult for students, but the way they are right now, it's even harder. So being able to find ways to connect students that way has been huge. And one more thing we're working on is an initiative called Success 360. So the whole department has come together, and we've been working with departments and faculty and staff across the university so that we can find ways to better connect with our online student population. So we're looking to improve our connectivity and our infrastructure, but also we're looking to take all of the services that we offer, because right now they're designed for in-person. And then kind of as an afterthought, we go, put in a link, let's make it available online and stuff. But we actually want things to be more interactive. We want it to be more engaging. And so we're looking into additional platforms and services that are going to allow our online students to actively engage in workshops, activities, events in ways that they haven't done before. You guys have been a big part of that.
We love to hear that. We love to hear that you're connecting the campus to online. That's what we always want to hear.
You guys have been huge in that. The podcast station, the way you guys go out to events and do like the live streams and like interview like vendors at the career fair or talk to people at the expo. Students get live up to the minute interaction, in that way that they haven't been able to get before. And so we're looking to expand that. We want the entire university to embrace that concept. And so when they're building activities, programs, initiatives, and they're thinking about how they're going to implement something, it should be at the forefront of, before we do anything else, how are we going to make this interactive and engaging so that our online students, our working parents, our military folks, our adult learners, whatever their situation may be, sometimes they're online and they're down the street,
right?
But they have jobs, they have kids, they have other responsibilities.
The class is only offered online. Yeah.
And the class is only offered online, exactly. So it's like, how do we connect them? Because they are just as valuable and as important as all of our students are, in terms of our on-campus students. So that's the initiative we're pushing forward with. And so we expect that in the next year or so, this university will look very different with regards to how we support our online and non-traditional students.
We love hearing that. We love the online students. We love the online students.
Yeah, I'm glad you've mentioned a lot of the things that you did just mention, because it's a good reminder that student success, it's more than just a department. It's more of a campus goal. We want all our students to be successful, and we want to help them in any way we can.
Absolutely.
Even if they're online. Especially if you're online, you need that support. When you come in, you see everyone, you have a type of support system. You can feel isolated when you're taking online classes. So I think it's important to reach those students.
So true. So true. And you're right. Student success is everybody's job, but I think a lot of people don't know how they contribute to that. They don't know, okay, how can I participate? How can I help? How can I support? So we've been working with students and faculty across the board and just looking at everything that we do and saying, okay, normally this is done on campus because why? What is the reason that we can't make this interacting? And sometimes people, it just takes an extra set of eyes to look at it and go, I guess we could do that. I don't know why we haven't leveraged this virtual technology to do that. That's a good idea. And so doing those kinds of things, I think, is going to really set us up for success in the future for our students, for this community, for everything that we're doing. I think a lot of bigger schools have made a lot of success in this way, but for us, especially after COVID, still kind of trying to come back from all of that and make it make sense, right? The rebuilding, exactly. And the 3 buildings, exactly. But with 3 buildings, we could still be a powerhouse because we have the technology is available. We just have to leverage it the right way. And so this is going to be huge for us. I'm excited.
Absolutely. All the changes that are coming, the changes that have come in the past, what changes and improvements have you seen since your time starting here at tamuct CT?
Oh my goodness. Wow, there's a lot. I have to say the result of the grant actually allowed us to be able to develop Mariah's position as community resource coordinator. And so that was a huge change because, again, students can go out and they can get WIC and SNAP and free medical benefits and they can get legal services and all this, but they have to really search and try to find that and figure out if they're eligible and all those kinds of things. With Mariah being in the position she's in, she's been able to kind of break down all those barriers, find all that information, partner with a lot of these agencies, and now they're right there at our fingertips. So you'd be surprised. I don't know, maybe you probably wouldn't be surprised. We have a lot of students with basic needs that people don't consider. A lot of students are dealing with being unhoused. A lot of students are dealing with food insecurity. A lot of students are dealing with issues of childcare and transportation, and some of them are in very uncomfortable or unsafe situations and stuff. And so having her role and having the connections that she's made has allowed us to help those students in a more meaningful way, like giving direct access, immediate support, food, assistance, safety, security, all those types of things that we have not been doing before. Not because we didn't care, we just didn't always have the direct access. So that was a huge change. I say the podcasting station is a huge change, right?
And the Success
and
Commons.
the Win Club is a huge change. Bringing you guys together to do what you're doing, to be able to access and to provide information. I watch a lot of your segments and a lot of your shorts on success strategies and things like that. I think they're awesome. And I was like, this is very cool. And you get a lot of good responses online and on the internet. I love that because students are out there looking to connect, looking for that information, looking to say, hey, how are you doing this? And so you guys are able to share your success stories and what you're doing. That's a big change. The Commons, the Success Commons was a huge thing. Something small that we decided to do that ended up just growing on its own and becoming something and having this major impact where students can come and get one-stop information and support about all things tamuct CT in one place is awesome. And so I could go on and on forever. There's just so many good things that we're doing across the whole university that I think has been fantastic. There are new projects and programs underway. There's new things happening to support military transitions. There's so many new programs and processes happening. And I can tell you, just looking just being, from my point of view, and being in some of the meetings and the sessions and the things that I'm hearing and I'm learning, you see our leadership is really leaning into making sure that we become this community and this region's like ultimate premier educational institution, which is what we need. We have 5 high schools in the area, you know, with so many students, and some have options. They can go on and go to other universities and things like that. But to be able to come here and get the education that they need, get the experiences they need, get the peer support, the networking, and still kind of stay close to home. And then contribute back to the community with their jobs and their experience and their knowledge and alumni. Beautiful. It's a beautiful ecosystem that I see on the horizon that we're headed towards, and it's going to be awesome.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds like more than anything, the number one thing you've noticed is definitely outreach, our ability to reach people and our ability to help people more than ever before.
Yeah, absolutely. You got it, Mark. Yeah, absolutely.
If you guys want to learn more about the resources with Mariah, you guys can check out that episode, and want to learn more about the Success Commons, be sure to check out Yoonjae's episode as well.
Awesome.
Okay, now can you tell us a little bit about like what you believe some of the bigger challenges that students here face on campus, and how student success has been helping with those challenges?
I'd say some of the basic needs I mentioned. School and going and getting your education is really a full-time job. You know, it's I mean, the amount of hours it takes for you to not just go to class, but then to prepare and to study and to research and to write papers and to do assignments and all of those things. It really does take up a significant amount of time. And so you add that along with people who have other jobs. So having a real full-time or part-time job, going to school, even full-time or part-time, having children, having other issues, and then just having life issues. I mean, people have cars and kids and pets and mortgages and rent and all
upper
kinds
division
of things. Yes.
School comes with upper division problems.
Right, exactly. Upper division life problems. I think those are the biggest challenges. And the biggest challenge I think for students that I've seen over my entire career is when they have to prioritize these things, regardless of their situation, and they're like, okay, I gotta work. I gotta find daycare for the kids, or I gotta take care of my mom, or I gotta do this, I gotta do that. They have to prioritize, and they say, okay, something's gotta go. They always first want to remove the education. Yeah. They're like, you know what? This tuition, these books.
They see it as a cost.
Yeah, it's like, get rid of it. I got to get rid of that. And then the sad part about that is a lot of the times the reason they're pursuing their education in the first place is because they have a goal or a dream or something they're attempting to. Yeah, it's an investment in themselves. And they've kind of had to cut that out. And so they'll always say a lot of the times, and it happens a lot, they'll say, I'm going to go back. I'll start again next month. You know what? I'm going to give it a year. I'll go back. And then a lot of times they don't go back. And even though they may at some point try to resolve that within themselves and say, you know what? It was not a big deal anyway. I don't need a,
it wasn't for me.
There was something there, right? And they feel like they lost or they missed something. And the truth of the matter is you don't have to make that sacrifice.
Yeah.
We have success coaches. We have advisors. We have directors and coordinators and people who do this for a living that will actually sit down and consult and help you figure out a plan, right? Even if you do have to pause school for a little bit, it should only be a pause, right?
Yeah.
I think that there's a way to fix these things or to address these issues and move some things around. And it's not always going to be easy. It's going to be hard, but you don't have to give up completely on your dream or your plan, in order to meet all those other needs. And now as a university, we're able to help assist with some of those needs, some of those stressors, transportation and childcare and all those types of things. If we can help you find a way to find a solution for those things, then you might be able to maybe reduce your course load for a little bit, but still stay in school. Those types of things I think are the biggest challenges, is just trying to find that balance, that life balance, and trying to find a way to incorporate your education and your goals into your life. It's always a separate thing. I tell students all the time, you got your phone, you got your doctor's appointments on there? Like, actually, I do put my doctor's appointment on here and I got to go do this. Did you put your assignments deadline
put your
in
due
there?
dates.
They're like, what? I'm like, have you not put, are you looking at the syllabus? That's a tool. That's a contract you got to look at. They're like, oh, I didn't think about that. It's like, yeah, because that's what makes it easy to cut it out at the end, because it's not ever been woven into who you are and your goals and what you're doing in your life. So again, the biggest challenge is just trying to balance and prioritize all that without having to eliminate, something and say, well, I'm just going to give up on this and I'll come back at another time.
Yeah. That reminds me about how I know Dr. Rhodes, your president, he's mentioned very many times now that here on this campus, this should be a place to pursue your dreams. This is a place where your dreams should come true. And now, hopefully, with all the podcasts and sorts and stuff that we've done here with when you guys are you guys know a lot more about like the different resources and stuff that we have here on campus, and any struggles you may be having, we should have something here on campus to help you work through those problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chef's kiss. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, absolutely.
I agree. I love all the resources that we have for our students here. How does your team gather the feedback for these students about these resources, and so they can improve these resources? What does the feedback look like?
There are so many ways, and sadly, and we're working on a way to do this in a more meaningful way that doesn't inundate our students with the dreaded surveys.
Yeah,
I know that there's surveys from everywhere, and that's hard to deal with. And so, but some of the things we've been working on is when we do a lot of events, we do events across the campus all the time. A lot of the times we attempt to attach some sort of incentive to filling out a quick little 5-question survey and giving us feedback or information, or just talking to our students in general and getting their feedback.
Focus groups.
Yeah, focus groups, all those kinds of things. We monitor things online, so we monitor like comments and chats and things like that. One of the things that we're looking to do, and we're going to start it this year, and then we had so many different things going on, is some of the testimonial booths and some of the diary room things that we want to do. So we're going to see more of those types of events and activities where it'll be for students to come in and tell us what you think, or to give us quick feedback on, what's your best class, or what's your favorite instructor and why, and what are some things that you would like to see on campus that we don't currently have. Those types of things. Because we ask students all the time, have you used this service? What do you think about that service? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? But the truth of the matter is student experience, their opinions about the experience of being a student here is incredibly important. How many times they use the comments or why they use the comments, that's helpful in some ways, but also what is it about the comments that attracted you, and what are we missing, right? What else do we need? What else can we do to make your student experience better, your quality of student life better?
Right.
That's a big thing for us. And so we do outreach in a lot of different ways, but ultimately the goal is to try to find a platform or a means of having our students speak directly to us and share their voices and tell us what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong, and being open to that constructive criticism too, right? Because if we really want to make change, then we have to be open to hearing what we're not doing and what we're doing wrong, so.
I think having the confessionals and things like that is good for the experience part, because you can just click off out of 5, how much did you like this? But like having those words, having them express how they feel about it, their words and feedback, that's important for sure.
Exactly. Some of those ratings are strange. It's like sometimes, often, not
agree,
often,
disagree.
I know there's a whole process behind that. But again, the experiential, the honest, raw, qualitative feedback, I think is most telling for us and gives us the most insight into what we need to do.
Absolutely.
Okay, now could you tell us a little bit more on like what is your longer term vision for student success?
Oh my goodness, that's such a loaded question, Mark. For me, I think the work that we've done so far in a lot of our programs and departments is really just us scratching the surface. I see us being this powerhouse where when students, because let's be real, when students first enroll in college and the university and they want to go to school, they're coming for the classes, right? Which are ultimately going to result in their certificate or their degree so that they can do the things that they want to do. So inside the classroom is incredibly important. That experience is very incredibly important. And the relationships they have with their faculty and the impact their faculty have is the main reason they're here. Outside the classroom, the support services that we provide so that they can be successful in the classroom, I consider to be that next tier, support. And so for us, we want that support to be seamless. We want that support to be flawless. We want to be contemplating and thinking about what students need before they need it, and so having those things working in a way that there's sort of a synergy. So we have a food pantry here, so we have the campus cupboard. That's under a slightly different department. It's still within the Division of Student Affairs, but it's in a slightly different department. But we have been working closely with them because we do have students who come in with food insecurity. So we want to have that close relationship so that we can seamlessly work with them. I want to see that happen for all student services across the university. And when I say student services, it doesn't just mean the things that we do in the Warriors, and it's not just tutoring or accommodations or any of those things. I'm talking financial aid, campus rec, registration, every office that a student has to go to. for anything should have a really seamless process in place where everyone is able to communicate. The student isn't bounced around. Oh, we don't do that here. Go over there, or oh, go over there, go over there. I'd love to just see us have a setup where students can come in and get the information that they need without being given the runaround or having to meet with this person or wait till that person comes back from lunch or call this number or call that number. We know that that is not something that you can't have every single person on campus know every single thing about everything that everybody does. We know that that's not realistic. But I do believe that there are ways for us to improve the way we communicate within our different departments and programs, the way we communicate and share information across the university. And that's similar to what I'm talking about with the Commons. The Commons goal is to try to gather as much information as they can about registration dates, withdrawal dates.
Flyers everywhere.
Where does this go? Where does this go? Right. So when the student comes in here, they're not just getting information about Warrior Center or services in the Division of Student Affairs. They're getting information about events and activities taking place in COBA, taking place in the Psychology Club, taking place at the College of Arts and Sciences, withdrawal dates, financial aid dates, drop dates, all those kinds of things. So just creating a system where students can come in and get the information they need, feel like they've been heard and feel like they've gotten what they need and not feel like they have to take the full day off from work.
To run around the 3 buildings.
To figure out where they need to get everything. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So that's my vision ultimately, is to just remove that barrier and to create a seamless process where students come in, get the support they need, and get back to doing what they are here for, which is being students. You know?
Are there any exciting and new initiatives and changes you guys are working on over the summer, over the summertime, that students might be able to look forward to in the fall?
There's so many things. I don't want to. There's some things I can't give away yet because I'm not sure.
No sneak peek. No sneak peek.
But we've gotten some new cool tools, and we've got some new things. We are finishing up a contract with an organization called Mentor Collective, which we're very excited about. This is going to take our peer mentoring concept to the next level. And so we've got small pockets of peer mentoring programs all around the campus. And the Warrior Center has a centralized peer mentoring group. But this platform allows us to reach out to students, whether they're online or not, across the country, wherever we have our tamuct CT students, wherever they are, and invite them to serve as mentors or for them to engage as mentees. It has a matching system as well, so it'll match whatever criteria you want. So if you want to be matched with, you want to be a mentor or a mentee and be matched with someone who has the same degree or same hobbies, same major, same interests, same job goals, whatever it is you want to do, you can say, this is my profile, this is who I'd like to be matched with, and they'll match it. I hate to say it, it almost sounds like a dating service type thing.
I was going to say, I was going to keep that there.
It's not that, but the great thing about it is you get to pick and choose and match yourself with someone and say, oh, wow, I love this history and this information about this. I want to talk to this person. I want to know more about what this person has going on. So that's great. It also has hard matching. So we have some organizations or groups that have a mentorship component embedded. So the Psychology Club, psychology department has their own mentorship program. So psychology students need to be mentored by psychology. They can set that whole thing up on this Mentor Collective platform and hard match, right? Warrior Scholars can do matching. Blue Coats can do matching. And so this is just a great opportunity. And then what's great about this platform is it has private virtual rooms to communicate, to talk, to share information, to discuss. You can meet at different times. You can schedule times you want to meet up. It can be for 20 minutes, 5 minutes, or an hour, or 2 hours, or whatever it is. And the great thing about it is we are able to capture a lot of feedback and see these interactions. It's almost like Reddit and a Facebook group and some other platforms you can think of, all rolled into one.
That's cool.
You know? And then it also allows for just casual engagement and discussion and networking, which I think a lot of our online students who feel very disconnected and isolated, this will be a great bridge for them. And so I'm excited about this as well, because I think that this is going to be a game changer. And if you do sign up and agree to be a mentor, it's very simple. You're already a student here. You say, hey, I'd like to be a mentor. You go through training that's provided by the company. You get certification, and you get a LinkedIn badge for being a mentor. You get resume builders. You get so many other incentives that allow you to utilize this and say, hey, while I was at tamuct CT, I also was a peer mentor.
That's great.
That is really cool.
I'm graduating.
Right? Right? And you're graduating. Exactly. So it's gonna be a game changer, and I'm excited about it because this is another another way that we're attempting to bridge that gap and create those connections with our students that we've been needing for so long.
Yeah,
Right.
it sounds like one of the best ways I've heard so far for getting online people to connect
Yeah.
with other online people as well as people here on campus. And then with like the badge system you just mentioned,
Yeah.
that's a great incentive.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
for
could
sure.
that could give them something to put on the resume
Yes,
too.
absolutely. It's going to be awesome. I mean, I think it's great. That's just one of several things we're working on, but I gave y'all this little sneak peek and stuff. But it's going to be exciting. I mean, it's a good time. I know you're graduating, but you're an alumni, so it's going to be okay.
Right,
but it's going to be a
might
great
stop
time
by.
to be a tamuct CT student. And between now and I'd say in the next 3 to 5 years, people are going to be blown away with what this university is able to do for this community.
That's
I think it's
exciting.
going to be awesome.
That's super exciting.
Man, I know you mentioned that like you feel like you're living the dream in a way.
Yeah,
But what do you think is like the most rewarding part of your job?
Talking with you guys and seeing the students graduate and accomplish the goals they need. A lot of students that I end up talking to or I hear that my team is working with, hearing those success stories. And success stories, people are like, oh, you got to be a success. You have to get all A's and you have to graduate with honors. No, success story is a lot of times is a student coming to me and going, oh my God, I passed that math class. It was doing me in and I did it. And I'm like, yes, that's awesome. And I love those little wins and those successes, those little things that are in the way that you feel like you can't overcome and you're struggling with. And then somehow or another, you dig deep and you get it done.
Yeah.
I love that. And
I
so
love
for
that
me,
too.
it's the most
Yeah.
rewarding thing is to hear good stories. I know it's hard. It's not easy to be a student and to deal with life and all the other things you have to do. I know it's hard. And so when students come out on the other side of that,
Yeah.
for me, that's a big win.
That's a success.
It's a huge success for me.
That's success.
So that's the most rewarding part of the job for me is hearing those stories or seeing those students and being excited about it. Upstairs in my area, we have the testing center, and students struggle a great deal of time trying to meet those certification requirements. And no matter what the certification is, HVAC, plumbing, firefighter, real estate license, we do all of those things. When they come out, you can hear the relief. Sometimes they're crying. Sometimes they're high-fiving. Sometimes they're like, oh, my God, I did it. I've taken this test 5 times, and I made it. And it's like we start ringing a bell and dancing and having a good time with them.
Yeah, the testing center.
Yes,
It's
awesome. So, I mean, I've been there. I relate to those types of stories and those feelings. And when I see them just excited about it, even when they come out and they're sad and they're like, dang it, this is my 3rd time. I don't think I'm going to do it. We give them a pep talk, and we're like, you're going to be back. This is what we're going to do. And you're going to come back and take this thing again next month. You're going to be back. And they come back and they get it. It's everything. It's like that's the most exciting thing for me is just seeing students literally succeed. Student success is it's my jam. It's my thing.
What is something that the students here might be surprised to learn about you?
About me?
Yes.
I don't know if they'll be surprised because I tell people this all the time.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
You know what it is? You don't know
Yeah,
what
I
it
guess
is.
you are more of an open book.
Go ahead.
All right, I'm going to say it and see if you know. So I am a hardcore gamer.
Gamer. She's a hardcore gamer.
I love video games. I always have. My whole family games. And I'm big on that. That is like my number one like go-to stress release. Like so this weekend I was on like Tom Clancy's Division and they were having a whole thing going on. I was trying to get my Twitch drops and I was in there and my son kept coming in there and he's like, Mom, I thought you wanted me to do some things. You want me to work in the yard. I'm like, yeah. Check in later. I got this. And I'm like trying to get my badges, trying to get my rewards, trying to get it. I am big on that.
This is the real question. Do you PC or console? Like, what are we on?
I used to PC years ago. I stopped doing it because I got hooked on consoles, and so now my console, I have a PS5.
Okay.
PlayStation.
Yeah, on PlayStation. My son has an Xbox, and I'm a little bit annoyed because sometimes there are games that come out on Xbox, sometimes aren't. And I usually tease him a lot, and I'm like, Xbox is trash, and it sucks.
can't play
But
God
now
of
he's got some
War.
really great games that I don't have access to, and I'm like, what?
Yes.
And he's like,
Dang.
yeah. And I'm like, so yeah, it's awesome.
I used to be an Xbox gamer. Now I've converted to the PC side.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now a lot of the exclusives, I just wait and they come
come out
to
of-
Steam.
yeah.
Even computer even has stuff like Spider-Man now.
Yes, yeah, which is awesome. And it frustrates me because when the games that I play, they'll do like a PTS and they'll say, oh, there's something new is coming out and we're going to wait on it. But I don't get to test it because it's always on PC. And I'm like, just watching YouTube, watching other people
Watching the
play.
clips, watching the
stuff, and I'm
playthroughs.
like, should I switch to PC? Should I not switch to PC? I don't know. But I love gaming. Video games are exciting to me. And honestly, a lot of the things that the gaming industry does, I incorporate a lot of those things into the programs that we have here. Gamification, incentives, making things fun. And a lot of things are work, but they don't always have to feel like work,
Right.
you know? So I love gaming. I incorporate it into everything that we do. Yeah. And I guess that's not really a secret because anybody who'll ask me and wants to talk about games, I'm like, okay, yeah, have you seen that new download?
The game references.
The DLC,
Like,
what's going on? Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I love that. I think that's a good like stress relief
It
though.
is.
That's a
It
good
is.
like yeah, I think
It
it's a
is.
good
And I have
reference.
a really cool gaming community I belong to and stuff, and I love it. And that's another thing, that the online community we have for our students, I see that operating the same way as our gaming community, sharing information, sharing feedback, talking with each other, talking about something that we all should have in common and that we love and care about.
Right. It seems niche, but it's powerful.
Yeah, it is. It's very
Yeah.
powerful. And so I see us kind of revolutionizing the way we support our online students by taking a page from the gaming industry and creating our online student community in a way that's going to be fun and engaging and supportive and encouraging for our students. So.
Absolutely.
Okay, now I guess to close off, if you had just one piece of advice to give all students, what would you give them?
Oh man, killing me. This is gonna sound so cliche, but don't give up. If you do have to put things on hold, make sure you're honestly putting it on hold and you go back to it. You know, sometimes people kind of, I'm in college, but it's not a big deal, or I don't care about it, or it's no big deal. No, it is a big deal. You know, it is a big deal. And it doesn't matter where you go. If you're going to community college, a four-year school, you're taking classes online, it doesn't matter. You chose to do that for a reason because you have something inside of you that you want to pursue and you want to accomplish. Don't let other people make you feel bad about your dreams or your goals. And don't give up on it. You know, sometimes you have to press the pause button. That's okay. But you can always go back, you know, you can always go back. You can always get the support you need. And like I said, universities and colleges have so many resources that a lot of students don't take advantage of. So before you make the decision to press pause or to give up, check out the resources. You're paying for them, right? Your student fees
Right.
pay for these. A lot of people don't know that either. I'm like, you're paying.
No,
but
it's in the
they're like,
tuition.
oh, tutoring's free, success coaching's free, accommodations are free. No, you
I didn't
pay
even know we
for
had
it in your-
printing until last week.
Yeah.
We have printing,
Right.
guys.
Yeah, printing support,
we have
right?
Printing support.
You
yes.
pay for it in your fees, and a lot of students don't take advantage of it. It's like if I pay for something at the store and I forget it, or I find out later, I'm like, wait, I have this coupon. I'm going back
Yeah,
to the store.
I'm gonna go redeem it.
Right. So why wouldn't you redeem what you've earned or what you're owed here at the university? And so that's my one biggest advice would be to learn about the resources you have access to and take advantage of them. If I had to give one solid thing, that would be it. That would be it.
I would like to also follow up with a piece of advice since this is my last episode. This is my last episode we're
We love you,
recording,
Summer.
guys. I would like to say that don't think that it's too late for you. Don't think like, oh, like this is coming past me. That dream is gone. No. Like you still have time. Always remember that you still have time, and also that the anxiety, the pressure, the imposter syndrome, that's in
Yes.
your head. A lot of the time it's not other people putting that on you, and all the things that you see that are like coming at you. If you take the time to pull them apart, come to one of the success coaching,
Yeah.
something like that. If
Come
you take
find me,
the
call
time
me.
to pull it apart, you
Yeah.
can find that you can do this. You definitely can do this.
Absolutely.
I guess since both of you gave an advice, I'll give one too. I guess one of the bigger things I've realized this semester is more than anything, you got to learn to celebrate the smaller wins. You don't have to run a marathon. You don't have to like receive an entire degree before you give yourself permission to be happy and like celebrate the things that you've done so far. It's okay to like be happy with like maybe you were only able to do a few slides worth of notes, or maybe you were struggling with a test and you didn't do as good as you thought you were going to, but you still made it through it. It's always important to remember to be proud of what you've done so far, even if you haven't made it all the way to the end yet. So don't forget to celebrate the smaller wins along the way.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Thank you
guys are
so
amazing.
much. Thank you guys so much for watching the Warrior Way podcast. Thank you guys for a great semester. And thank you, Miss Stephanie, for coming on and
Absolutely, my
visiting
pleasure.
us. And thank you guys for watching the Warrior Way.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.